It's in the cubicle that it all comes out. All the love, hate, joy, and doubt about problems in all shapes and sizes. There's a definite story in amongst the chaos. Feelings spoke about political mess and detest for the boys in blue. Lock the door and take the key. The main difference is the way some people sit when they wee. I'm a reet artist, I paint what I see. No, I'm a real artist, I paint while I pee. Some people like to chat, some people prefer to be alone. Sometimes the anger is felt in the tone of the words about problems in all shapes and sizes. Hold my drink, I won't be long. Probably be back by the end of the song. What I see makes me think, triggered by the words and stickers around the sink. I get a glance in the mirror and imagine what's wrong with what people say and where we've come from. Some people care with the affirmation to the nation, you look cute today. Dear two-coat man, please stop getting rid of the drunk people's art in the toilet stalls. Love, Vanessa, Lon and Ellie. Thankfully this place doesn't stink like the one I was in last week Thursday. That was unbearable. How do we bear the unbearable? People come and people go, and some people clear up after the mess they've made, while others leave it on show for others to admire. So the stomach is set on fire and it all happens too quick. Lay on the floor, adding to the sick. No amount of water will erase the memory. Too much beer will bring a tear, and worse the fear of waking up in the morning next to someone boring, asking if I'm good.
My name's Amy Stenson-Pickles, and after a few beers down the pub, I became obsessed with toilet graffiti. I promise you it's a lot more interesting than you think. It even has a name, latrinalia. So in my quest to find out more, I thought I'd take you with me. Here's what I've found out so far. Humans have always enjoyed leaving their mark on places, and it would seem that the complete anonymity of a toilet wall allows for undressed confessions, where people can write with their heart on their sleeve. Studies of this art dating back to the 60s describe how the doodles often have a deeper sociological representation and can hold a mirror up to society. Funnily enough, it's quite hard to find people to talk about this niche topic with, but to my luck I found Scott, an artist who created a study on latrinalia in 2016, comparing the differences between male and female toilet thoughts.
So how did you kind of come across this idea, and once you had, how did that kind of transpire into a research project?
It was a bit of an epiphany, I think, truthfully. And I always thought bathroom graffiti was sort of interesting as a world, but it only just sort of clicked in my head one day as I was heading towards the men's bathroom. I was like, I've never actually been into a women's bathroom. I don't know what it's like. I just it just sort of clicked. I'm like, well, I'm sure it's the same, but I started to ask some female friends. I was like, oh yeah, so like, what sort of graffiti, if any, is in a female bathroom versus men's? And my female friends sort of gave me responses that surprised me, because I realized that these were these anonymous zones. You are traceable even 5 years ago on the internet, whereas it's very, very hard to trace who wrote what on a bathroom. But we do have that one data point, and that data point is your gender. It does give people a freedom to express themselves, any deep, dark thought that they might have. So I think that's one part of it, the anonymous part. But then the other part of it is, what would you say to your own gender and not have the gender know who you are?
Scott told me some of the main differences that he found between the genders.
Men were very aggressive and really attacking of their own gender. So it was very much like, fuck you, screw you, or you know, it was very, very aggressive. And there was certainly aggressive things in women's bathrooms, but there was also uplifting things, sort of a more of a communal sentiment, you know, like, I don't want to say girl power, but sort of a sense of like uplifting girldom, which was massively surprising for me because I'd never seen that. And I thought public bathroom toilet messaging was only either sexual, aggressive, racist. I thought that's all it ever was, and maybe funny. So sometimes you would get humor, of course, in men's bathrooms. And actually, if you combine the two genders, that's not always the truth.
Aside from our differences, the one trait that Scott observed across both genders was humour.
So why do you think people write on the bathroom wall?
I mean, the motivation, I think that's probably the thing that I found the hardest to get my head around. I still don't know. I don't think the study revealed the motivation, actually.
Scott's insight into what toilet graffiti can tell us about ourselves got me thinking, and I wanted to find out why we even do it in the first place. There was one problem though, the anonymous aspect, which I didn't want to intrude on. Something that I found interesting was the conversational tone that we have with toilet graffiti. I've heard it described before as a blogosphere. So how else to speak to people in the toilets but to put some questions up in there and wait for responses? As a one-man band, I put posters in unisex toilets so that I could still gather comments from both genders. Okay, let's have a little look what we've got in here. Oh, amazing. So in the top left there we've got, because social media is shit and toilet walls are forever. It's true. And the small one, because we have depression. To free us from the monotonous and monotone, the regulatory and prediction of modern existence, for one short while we rebel, quietly we are anonymous, we are good, we are free. Well, to share wisdoms, love you first. In true toilet graffiti style, there were a lot of explicit comments, but some people had really taken the time to think why they write on the toilet walls. The first sense of humanity was a hand on a wall, obviously not this good. Folks write on toilets because they are hopefully on their own and can express opinions that they may not otherwise, such as, so you've got your conversational tone there. It doesn't matter if no one listens, speak your wonderful thoughts. Don't give up. Got to share them feels. And then here, it's quite hard to read, but it says, it doesn't feel the same when you're allowed to do it, which is quite a fitting response. The message I was getting from the responses was that people really wanted to get stuff off their chest, anonymously and honestly, and they used the toilet to do that. Just because I'd found a love in latrinalia, I wondered if others felt the same, especially venues. So I caught up with Sam Heaton, the manager of Rough Trade in Nottingham. As a disclaimer, Sam does have a positive attitude towards latrinalia, but not all people do, so please beware where you graffiti.
I think if you're proud of an establishment, you want to top it up with a lick of paint here and there, then more forza, you know. For us, it's become so ingrained in in our bathroom. Once it gets so far, I think it's beyond the point of vandalism and more of an aesthetic, I suppose. Don't get me wrong, we have had cleaners who have, like, with loads and loads of continued effort, tried to get things off just, say, the mirrors, like leaving everything blank and then just get it off the mirrors. But part of the culture here is we invite people to be themselves as well.
I asked Sam if he noticed any themes of people wanting to express deep and anonymous feelings within his toilets.
It definitely sparks thoughts and stuff, doesn't it, some of the ones in there. There's all sorts of individual comments and stuff that kind of like either resonate or just make you feel emotively in some ways. And I suppose that's the whole idea of what art is in the general, do you know what I mean? So as fleeting of an idea for someone to write on the walls it may be, it might affect so many other people from just what it says or how poignant it is or how happy or sad it could be. There's one quote in there that says, if you want to know what unhappiness is like, just ask me. And then I always like see that whenever I go for a wee. And I always think, God, you know, I wonder if that person's okay.
It amazed me how many people felt the same way as each other. And in a growing digital age, our primordial nature told us to go back and write our thoughts and feelings. It's true that we can learn a lot about ourselves from the bathroom walls, be it gender expressions to our deepest, darkest thoughts that we don't feel we can verbalise from day to day. What I have found very endearing is our undeniable need to conversate, mixed in with dry humour and tremendous wit. The one overarching thing that is very clear is that the toilet is talking.
All energy flows according to the whims of the great magnet. What a fool I was to defy him.
There once was a place for Tories. It used to be on the benches. They've taken our lives. They've destroyed our kind. Let's send them all off to the trenches.
The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
You've gotten through 100% of your worst days yourself. If the world's against you, at least you can back yourself. Everything levels itself out, like when you scoop out honey and it flattens back down. Nothing lasts forever.
Saturday, the 11th February, 2017, the day that didn't exist.
Life is a pyramid scheme.
All energy flows according to the whims of the great magnet.
There once was a place
fool
for
I was
Tories.
to defy him.
It used to be on the benches. They've taken our lives. They've destroyed our
The only
kind.
thing
Let's send them
necessary
all
for
off
the
to the
triumph of
trenches.
evil is for good men
You've gotten
to do
through
nothing.
100% of your worst days yourself. If the world's
Life is a
against you,
pyramid
at least you
scheme.
can back yourself. Everything levels itself out,
Saturday,
like when you scoop out
the
honey
11th
and it
February,
flattens back down.
2017,
Nothing lasts
the
forever.
day that didn't
All
exist.
energy
There
flows
once was a
according
place
to the
for
whims
Tories.
of the great
You've
It
gotten
used
magnet.
to be
through
on the
100%
benches.
of
Fool
your
I was
worst
They've
to
days
taken our
defy
yourself.
lives.
him.
They've
If the
destroyed our
world's
kind.
against
The
you,
only
at
thing
least you can
Send them
back
all off to the
yourself.
necessary for the
trenches.
triumph of
Everything
evil
levels
is
itself
for
All
out,
good men
energy
to
like
do
when you
flows
scoop
nothing.
out
according
honey
to
and
the
it
whims
flattens
of the
back
great
down.
magnet.
Nothing
There
lasts
What a
once was
fool
a
I
place
was
for
to
You've gotten
Tories.
defy
through
him.
100%
It used
of
to be
your
on the
worst days
benches.
The
yourself.
only
They've
thing
taken our
If the
lives.
world's
necessary for the
against
They've
you,
triumph
destroyed
at
our
least you
of
can
kind.
evil
back
is
yourself.
Let's send them all off to the
Everything levels
trenches.
itself out,
for
like
good
when you
men
scoop
to
out
do
honey and it
nothing.
flattens back down. Nothing lasts forever.